Hi there. It's concealer day, up close and personal. We're going to go over the details of concealer, and I'm going to be using Limelight by Alcones number 0 and number 2. It's pretty clear in the picture. This is the lightest one, and this is number 2. So there's there's one in between, and I like to have both of these available, just like I like to have 2 foundations available, so that I have a little bit of flexibility. I find from one day to the next that I want a lighter or a darker, just depending on how I'm feeling. So you guys can probably all get away with just 0. You're gonna think, wow, that's way too light. Hi, Carolyn. You're gonna think this is way too light. But that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to talk you through all of the fear that you're going to experience when you put this on your face. So don't worry. Okay, so we're going to take our fingers. This product is wax-based, so it needs a little bit of heat and warmth to sort of warm up to your skin and to blend better. So I'm going to use my fingerprint as kind of a guide for how much product. I know how much product because I have a lot of experience with these, but you don't. So when you get this, you don't know, do I need to scoop some out or do I need a teeny tiny dab? So you're kind of at a disadvantage when you start. But again, I would encourage you to practice when it doesn't matter, so that you can kind of take your time. And you want to be able to see okay, sorry, I had to tell my husband to get off the internet. Okay, so here we are with some product. I mixed the 2 because that's what I'm feeling today. I did a light foundation coverage. All I have on is the primer spray and the what comes on Monday, Christy? Sorry, I got distracted. What's coming? What's coming? I have primer spray, and I did a light layer of foundation using my big puffy brush because I like to see a little bit of my skin through, mostly because I have pigmentation here. I feel like it looks just a little bit more natural and normal if I also have a little bit of pigmentation here. Okay, so 2 fingers. You can't use this finger on this eye because it doesn't fit in the corner without doing some funky yoga stuff, okay? So God gave us 2 fingers. I know you're not ambidextrous, neither am I, but you can do this, okay? It's just a couple of dabs. If you can pat your head and rub your belly, you can do this. Okay, so we're gonna start in the tear duct, and I'm patting and pulling down to the nostril, and this is layer 1. So you get it on and you think, wow. This is, oh, Christy's getting her kit. Yay! Y'all are gonna love her videos. She is a powerhouse. This is layer 1. Okay, so now the product is transferred mostly off of my fingers and onto my face. Now the blending begins, the magic begins. Let's talk about anatomy real quick. This is the soft part. And this hard part right here, this is called your zygomatic arch. And the difference between your zygomatic arch and your soft part is what we're trying to conceal. I really usually refer to this more as a highlighter than a concealer, because concealer makes people think you're covering up a pimple or something like that, which this product is awesome for, but it's so much more than that. So we're trying to conceal the difference between the soft skin here and the hard skin here. So what most people do when they put on their concealer is they just go here under the eyes, and you're basically just highlighting the fact that you have a difference between the soft skin and the hard skin. So we are going to color match between here and here, so that you fool the eyes into thinking that there is no difference there, that the skin from your eyelids to here is nice and taut. Okay, so we're gonna go right past those bottom lashes. Don't try to scoop up underneath them and avoid them. They're not gonna fall out. Nothing bad is going to happen to them. Just go right over them so you get all of the pink in between each lash. Don't forget your little nose area, but we're gonna go back and focus on this here in another minute. And we're doing a pat and pull. High friction, low pressure. It's almost a vibrating motion, and my arm is locked against the side of my body. If you're out here doing this, your arm is a little clunkier and you don't have quite as much control. Christy, I bombarded you with information yesterday, and this morning I had to wake up and check that you were still my friend on Facebook because I thought you might have broken up with me. Okay, over here, same thing. You don't want to see where it starts and where it stops. Underneath there, because some of you are going to have more fine lines in this area. You're going to have to push it into and over through some different directions, okay? You want to stretch those lines out and then pull the product through there and make sure that it's not resting and looking white in the creases. If it is, no problem. Just take a dry finger and absorb that product and then move it somewhere else. Okay, so this is layer one, and we think, wow, that looks great, right? We're done. But it can be so much better. So we're gonna do another layer and see what happens. It's either gonna be a disaster or it's gonna be awesome. Okay. So another layer, both fingers. And now I'm gonna focus, instead of right here, I'm just gonna bring my fingers down a little bit. What I see most people do is still they're focusing on this under eye area and they're hesitant to pull the product down onto their cheeks because you've never done it before. So your muscle memory is sticking to what it knows, and you have to use your brain in a much more powerful, forceful way to tell your hands, no, we are going to put product here. It needs to be just as light here as it is here in order to get that camouflage effect. Yep, there you go. And now I look like I was just born. Not really. Okay, pulling it down. And yes, it's way too light, but by the time we set it and we do bronzer and we do contour and all those other things, it's all gonna work out beautifully. If you find that once you get all of your other makeup on, you don't have a lightness here, or you still see a dip and a dent between the soft skin and the zygomatic arch, then you know you just need another layer. And you need to protect those layers with a nice couple of thin blankets of our perfect setting powder. You cannot just leave this concealer like this, y'all. You're not done. It'll grab everything and pull it off your face, and it'll be a big fat mess. It is very forgiving and lovely and rich to work with. It's not heavy, it's not cakey, it doesn't feel like anything on your face. But don't make the mistake that you can just slap it on and run out the door. If it's the only thing you're wearing, I suppose you could. But if you're going to wear any eye makeup, then you have to set it with a setting powder. Okay, so now we have done this area here. And these edges out here that are a little too white, those are gonna get covered up with the contour and the other things that we're gonna do, so don't worry. So the extra that I find, I just instinctually go down the bridge of my nose. Jackie, Sarah, Chelsea, hi! Chelsea's having a baby, and she was my first babysitter. I found her on Craigslist. I don't recommend that you find your babysitters on Craigslist, but we did. and she was amazing. And now she is married and having a baby of her own, and I'm gonna give back to her. No, I'm not really. I'm never gonna babysit. I'm so done with babies. Okay. I'm assuming that little thumbs up was from you, Chelsea. Okay, so there are other areas on our face that we can highlight. I can spend a little bit of time on my chin. If you have a recessed chin, or you wished that your chin stuck out more or was somehow bigger, highlighting it can be a very effective tool. So you can just do a little bit here, and it'll kind of bring it forward. You can do the bridge of your nose as discussed, right on the top. Make sure that your finger is straight. Because we're humans, we're going to follow the path of least resistance. And so when we do contour and highlighting and things like that, we just want to follow and do whatever the arm just naturally, how it naturally wants to fall. You need to pick your arm up or brace it against your side and make sure that your angles are appropriate, because you can take your perfectly straight nose and make it look crooked if you get lazy and your hand starts to fall off to the side. So make sure that it's nice and straight. Other areas we can highlight are the forehead. Right up here. You can highlight right on the jawbone, and then you would have your contour here. I don't really mess with that. I feel like that's for a younger generation. If you're interested in learning that, I would recommend that you follow Kendall Watts. She's amazing, and she does really cool stuff that, quite frankly, I'm just too old to do. Okay, so now we're going to take this and go back in to, whoops, this is why we keep it in a magnetic palette. Oh, let's talk about the magnetic palette right quick. Okay, so Limelight by Alcone has a complexion palette that they sell that has, I don't have one with me, but it has a spot for a foundation and 2 concealers. That's awesome. If you know which foundation you are, or you have no interest in trying to broaden your horizons to blending 2 different foundations for the right color and having a little bit of flexibility, then you can save quite a bit of money buying their little complexion palette. They give you a discount when you put those 2 concealers together. One of the reasons I don't like mixing a darker concealer in with my foundation is because the concealer is this size and the foundation is this size. So it takes quite a bit of finesse to equally put color on your brush from this tiny little pot and this big little pot. Much easier if you could just dab, 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 and then slap it on your face. So I find that people who are hesitant to wear makeup and who are trying that, if it's too difficult or it takes too much time, they're just not going to do it. So from my standpoint as a professional makeup artist, time is money. So I want to do as many as I can as quickly as possible. So I try to eliminate everything I can that slows me down. And that really translates well into the everyday world, because you don't have all day to do this. Which is why you need to practice when you do have all day or all evening, so that you can kind of build up that muscle memory. Okay, into the corners of the eyes. And sure enough, I forgot to tell you about the palette. Okay, these things I use, and I stick the extras in here. See, they obviously don't fit perfectly, but who cares? That way I have all of my concealers and foundations in one, and then I have a few little extra things I threw in there because I needed those for a different job. Okay, a little bit more. If a little bit is good, more is even better, right? Okay, so I'm stretching up onto my brow bone. This is a great eye primer, and it also is going to highlight right in this corner, so this tear duct area right here, and then sweep it across the lids and try to stay away from your crease. Use a dry finger to kind of especially if you have oily eyelids. Your crease doesn't really need any help, and that's where you can kind of get eyeshadow buildup if you're not careful. So you should feel your lids. They should feel just a tiny bit tacky, just the tiniest little bit. And if they don't, use a dry finger and absorb some of that product off of there. Okay, that's concealer. Any questions? Hi, Laura. I can't wait to see you. I'm leaving at about 2 and headed your way, so I hope you're ready for a little bit of time with me. Okay. Christy, hi. How are you? Ruthie. Ruthie was my best friend in college, y'all. She has been with me through, we used to get ready together, and we used to always say, what did we say, Ruthie? We said, why are we getting ready in silence? And we would turn on Pat Benatar. Yep, that's how old we are. Okay. So I think that's it. It's really hard for me to not go into the next step, which would be contour, but that's tomorrow. So check in with me tomorrow. We're gonna do contour, and then we're gonna take this moon face that we have, and we're gonna give it some color and some health and some loveliness. And I would love to hear your questions and comments, and I would love to see your orders. Limelight by Alcone / Ladylight, all one word, Ladylight. And I will appreciate that, because what I really want to do is get a makeup light, and it's pricey. I used to have one, and I gave it to a trainee so that she could use it. She needed it more than I did. But now when I do these videos, I really find that there are days like Monday when it was raining that there literally just wasn't enough light in this house to do an effective video. So I need you to order so that I can have good lighting, so that I can bring you more information. Is that good? Yeah? Good sales technique? Okay. Thank you. Go place your orders. I'll see you later.